Hey gang, it's Lou. How you doing? Marsha from our Fast Forward group had a question that is relevant, I think, to everybody, the whole group and beyond. And that is how to create more content. And I would say you don't really need to create more content. You just need to repurpose the content that you already have, especially if it's evergreen, you can repurpose. I find the easiest way to do that is to go into Descript and use some of their AI tools to pull out clips from blog posts or articles. And if you're doing a podcast like Marsha is, and Marsha, feel free to post the link to that here, you can take your podcast and bring it into Descript and create shorter clips from it. So let me go over to Descript and I'll show you what I mean. So when I'm in Descript, this is particularly good for podcasts. So I have a few clients and I edit their podcasts. By the way, if you need help with podcast editing or production, I'm your guy. So look no further. I can probably do it faster and better and cheaper than who you may be using now if you have a podcast, just FYI. So what I do with my clients and their podcast, now this is just a audio podcast. So even if you have an audio only podcast, we can create a thumbnail for you. And then I put the sound wave over the thumbnail.
Let's Fix Leadership. And today I'm so
You can see
excited.
that.
I have a special guest, and that is Jen McMillan.
So what you can do when you have an audio podcast, you can go up to Actions here, and then you can go to Ask AI, and you can ask AI, obviously going to do remove filler words, to find good clips or to find highlights. You can ask it to summarize, suggest a title, create social posts, blog posts, show notes, YouTube description, which I use all the time, improve and rewrite, shorten it, expand it. So what I do is I go into the audio podcast and I make it a video by adding a thumbnail graphic. I could add B-roll, but really just for the sake of this podcast, we just need a thumbnail with an audio sound wave graphic on it. And then I'll go and make a clip from that podcast, and I might make it portrait so that I can use it on YouTube Shorts. And in that case, I might just fill the extra space with captions and the sound wave. And I can do the same thing with the square version like this. Oops, that's not square. There it is. And again, what I'm doing is I'm just taking a section of that podcast. I go to the original podcast, I grab 3 or 4 paragraphs, and then I right click and click to duplicate to new composition. So anytime you've got a section of text, you can go duplicate to new composition, and that will give you a whole new project that you can edit. So again, it's not so much about making more content, it's taking the content that you already have and slicing and dicing it to repurpose it for other platforms. Originally, we had a podcast that was just audio. Now we've got a podcast that's video that I can put on YouTube. I've got a square version with captions that I can post to LinkedIn, which is what we do with these podcasts. And I've got a portrait version that I can post to YouTube Shorts or Instagram Reels. I've taken an audio podcast and I've made 3 videos of it. And I could do this again and again and just take sections and make clips out of them. I think for Marsha and others, especially if you have a podcast, the best way to create more content is to take clips from that podcast and turn those into shorter video clips. That's my story and I'm sticking to it. So remember, if you have a podcast and you need help repurposing it or producing it or making it sound awesome, we do that. So let me know, and happy creating, or happy repurposing, I should say. Thanks and bye for now.